Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be analysis of some of the more popular futures markets out there for day traders. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you're someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're just interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, one quick clarification. I will be using the 1 hour time frame. So what that means if you're a beginner to charts is each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 60 minutes worth of time. So the first market going to take a look at is the NQ. And just as a reminder, if you only trade the MNQ, the charts mirror image one another. So what I talk about here, you could factor into the MNQ. But overall, very, very big bounce on the day, although this final or this 60-minute session right here has been pretty wild. But a bounce is underway, and moving forward, just more a question of, is there any sort of genuine power behind this bounce? And that is why, in my mind, that 20,350 mark, very, very important, because that's going to show us whether or not progress is being made. What do I mean by that? Well, let's say the price comes down here, and once again, does what it did right here. So it comes down here, bounces around, and then eventually curls back up. What would you have in this situation? Well, you'd have a set of lows right here. You'd have a set of lows right there. And if you envision each one of those as stair steps, well, now you have stair steps making progress in the upwards direction. And that's what a truly strong move is going to do. Nothing can go straight up, but you at least want to see progress being made. And that's what that area is representing. So, quote, 20,350 is quote unquote the progress area. So as long as the price stays above there, that means that from a bigger picture, there is still that opportunity to build a higher base. And that's what you want. Now, if the price comes down here and breaks down through, no guarantees, but I don't think anybody would be shocked necessarily to the price to have it drift down to that area of support down there around 20,050, which is what I talked about previously. So congratulations to any of you that watched a previous video, because price did not hit it exactly right there, but got very close before a very, very big bounce. Now, if this upward move is going to continue, initial battleground remains that key purple line right there, 50-period moving average. You can see it acted as resistance there. Once again, acted as resistance. So keep an eye on that. If the price can push up through there, the next key overarching level, not until up around the 21,115 mark. But yeah, definitely a wild ride today. Rough start there. Big bounce back up. Will this bounce carry into Wednesday? And the next session, we'll see what happens. Next one here, we're taking a look at the ES. And ES, like the other markets, started rough, big bounce, and now this final 60 minutes are getting a bit shaky. But what I want to do here is actually adjust this level of support. Now that we have more data, it's very clear that the buyer stepped in and we're very, very aggressive right down there at 57.45. So 57.45 going to be a very important level to watch moving forward, because if the price goes down there and breaks down, that's quite the accomplishment, because like I said, this was some aggressive buying, big volume down around this area. So if the price were to go down there and then break down through it, it's just a question of, all those people that were buying and very aggressive, they would all be underwater. They would all be losing money, including all the people that bought on this move right there. So if that were to come down and then break down through there, that is a whole lot of people that would now be red, and very realistically potentially having stop losses down there, which create even more downside pressure. So definitely keep a very close eye on 57.45. Now, if the price does curl back up, initial area of resistance, which I talked about previously, right here at 58.55, you can see there was a temporary break above it, but that didn't last very long before the price dropped back below there. But if the price does get up to that level and pushes up through, then like the NQ, next key level going to be right there, 50-period moving average. And then if there's just a big day, the next key level after that would be that pink line right there, which is now taking a higher priority because that is a moving average. And that pink line has moved down in front of that 59.89 mark. So that is why that would now be the higher priority moving forward. But yeah, tried to bounce today, still is trying to bounce. But yeah, this 60 minutes here is certainly throwing a pretty big question mark into the mix. So it'll be interesting to see how things continue to play out. Next one here, YM, and a very brutal day on this one, namely because there had been a very solid support zone. So this, between these lines here, had done a good job. The price had approached it several times and either just bounced like it did right there, or like right there, or had gotten down, or a bunch of times right here. But price came down in there and has now broken down through both of those areas. So on that note, I'm going to get rid of that area there. But basic rules in charting, when levels of resistance are broken and closed below, they tend to act, when levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. And I mean, that is exactly what played out here. You could throw this right into a textbook. So the price broke down below it right there. And then look, went into acting as resistance there, and then resistance right there. So that's not to say that that level can never be broken. I'm just saying it makes sense why the price is struggling now at 43,165, and that'll be definitely the key area of resistance to watch now moving forward if there is any sort of attempted turnaround. I'm just going to go ahead and get rid of that level as it served its purpose for now, and no point in risking causing confusion because there's lines and clutter everywhere. In terms of current levels of support, nothing fancy here, just a basic question: where did the bleeding finally stop today? That was down there at 42,415. But if the price cannot hold above there, I'm actually going to change to the daily time frame, meaning each one of these now represents an entire day. But if 42,415 cannot hold, then the next key level of support to watch very, very closely would be down there at the 41,967 mark. And if the price were to push down below there, then that would be lows that have not been seen for literally several weeks now. So overall, the price is doing a good job staying above that 200-day moving average, but today now the price is broken down through there. The momentum kicked into gear, so we'll see how far down this bearish momentum does ultimately push it. We're now stepping away from the indices and going into the oil market, specifically crude. So we're taking a look here at CL, and overall very impressive bounce on it. It was looking pretty sketchy here after it broke down through that bear pennant that I talked about in the previous video. So for any of you that watched that one and took that trade, congratulations, you got paid very nicely. But now at this point, the price is bouncing up, and in my mind, it's like, okay, yes, very nice bounce, but can this start to show some signs of progress? So in my mind, 67.40 going to be a very important level, because if the price were to come down here and then just break down below it, all of a sudden at that point you have the price having gone right back to where it started, and that's just not a sign of genuine strength. To have a price go up and then go back to where it started, not a sign of true bullishness. But if the price can come down here, behave like that, and then curl back upwards, as I pointed out earlier, well, then you'd have a set of lows there, you envision those as stair steps, and you have yourself stair steps in the upwards direction. So that's just a long way of saying, in my opinion at least, 67.40, definitely a very important level of support. If this upwards bounce is going to continue, two main areas stand out immediately as levels of resistance. The first is going to be that purple line right there, 50-period moving average, and then the second will be that area that I mapped out previously up there around 69.18. So if anything, there may be a bit of a resistance zone right around here. But if the price can push up through those levels, that would certainly be a very impressive sign of strength. So we'll see what the next session has to offer. Next one here, we are in the world of precious metals now, specifically gold. So taking a look at GC. And for those of you that have watched past videos, you know that I put that trend line into play. And so far, so good. There was this pullback here, but absolutely beautiful trend line action there with the price bouncing nicely off of it. So moving forward, in my opinion, as long as the price stays above that trend line there, the bulls are in full health, bulls are in full control, however you can best visualize that. If the price were to break down below that trend line, not the end of the world or anything like that, because you do have this next area down here, which is based on rules. When levels of resistance are broken and closed above, you want to see them act as support. So you have a couple of key areas right here. And then even from the bigger picture, just continue to watch that purple line there, 50-period moving average, which now has a nice upward slope to it. So even if you didn't even want to use that trend line, I mean, I wouldn't really push back too much against that, because if you just want to use that moving average, which I like to call trend lines for lazy people, because the moving average will draw the trend line for you, then you could do that. But point here is right now, if the bears are going to push it back down and try to reverse it around, they are going to have to fight through several areas of support. They'll have to fight through that 200-period moving average right there, the pink line in the very near term. They'd have to fight down through the trend line, have to fight down through that level right there, and also have to fight down through the purple line. So, I mean, that's not to say that they can't do it, but it would need to take a whole lot of bearish strength in order to make that happen. In terms of levels of resistance, key battleground now moving forward in the next session, right up there around 29.40. But all in all, this nice upwards bouncer over the past few sessions remains intact. So that wraps up the analysis, and hopefully you already saw the link at the top of the screen, but if you didn't, use that link. That'll take you to Take Profit Trader, which is the prop firm that I use and recommend. They have a great payment policy. You can request payouts whenever you want. They do them same day. There's no limit on them. So there's a lot of things to be attracted with just from a payment policy perspective. So definitely check them out. Again, it's who I use and who I would recommend. And if you're an international trader, they're open to pretty much everybody around the world. Now, if you see your country on that list there, unfortunately for you, you would not be able to use them. But if your country is not on that list, then they would be open to you. So definitely make sure to check them out and make sure you use that link because that'll give you the current promotion, which is 30% off and no activation fee, which in and of itself is $130 value just on that activation fee alone. So check them out. As far as these analysis videos, as always, if you appreciate them, if you like them, hit that like button. And if you're looking for a super free and easy way to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button. So thanks for watching. Take care.